It's beginning to look a lot like Friday.
Okay, I thought you were going for that one. Listen, my bad, but it's fine because we're actually doing the first actual TLF.
It is official. We have data very early on, but I think it's really cool to see how the meta will evolve from this point on moving forward. We have already some specs that are doing plus 20s. Okay, so we're gonna talk about those. Some specs that will be ranking a little bit lower are I think at the max for 14th and stuff. But guys, huge disclaimer: we have been gathering. We have gathered data from Warcraft logs, what is available, and looking at the scores from Radar.io. So we kind of make a congregate out of that and place these rankings. But it is early on, and we're positive this will change on a weekly basis. People don't have their BIS items yet. They don't have the tier sets. However, we can kind of see, at least in terms of like melee DPS, where things are going. And we did go yesterday in the raid as well. I mean, not yesterday, 2 days ago. And Flame was playing his healer. I was playing my Outlaw Rogue. And I wanted to smash, deal damage all around. Because it's an amazing spec and all that. And I checked my logs. And we have another Outlaw Rogue in my guild who was number 1. I was looking at the parses like, man, he was doing like above 70 pars and stuff. And he was above me. He was lower item level than me, like 3 or 4 item levels below me. I was looking at my parses and stuff. And I could not help but think, like, dude, what if I just improve my goddamn rotation? Because this is a piano spec. You gotta be able to press everything.
Was the damage profile off?
Yeah, well, no, not really. But regardless, it's good to check that because I know I can do a lot better if I get at least to the parses my homeboy has it in the guild is there. And you can do that too because this is like the beginning of the season with the Warcraft Logs companion app. You check that shit right into your game. You don't have to go into the website and all that. Everything is right there. That's what I did. I've seen I'm a little bit bad. I could be a little bit better. Anybody has access to this. Just check the link in the description. Download it. And you have like the little icon over there within your game whenever your guild makes a pause. And you can do that in Mythic Plus too.
Yeah.
Like check the logs over there as well. It's amazing and it's one of the best ways you can improve your game. So thank you Warcraft Logs companion app for sponsoring the video. And now let's get into Arms Warrior, the first that we're gonna look at right here. And it's not looking that great, man.
Listen.
I
mean, in terms of melee DPS in dungeons, we obviously had a prediction some time ago. I think it was last week, and not everybody agreed, and that's fair enough. And some of them are actually, unfortunately, kind of similar to the prediction. And I think Arms is similarly
right
as well. The thing is, pretty much all warriors are protection now. So
protection, and you can see some fury here and there as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, protection is dominating. So because of that, Arms is not seeing that much play. I think the biggest key we've seen is like 14 or 13.
Somewhere around there is where Arms
so
is.
It's not bad. I mean, we struggled yesterday on stream with like plus 8
the thing is, since we definitely looked at data and we wanted to, not be biased when we ranked these, so we kind of looked at the Mythic Plus score and the Radar.io score and all of that, so we kind of judged it by that. But there is a point to be made about Arms specifically, but also other specs as well, is that they are capable of doing high keys. Not everybody just got around to do all of the keys at a high level. So probably this takes a little while. Plus, Arms also is one of those specs that likes gear, similar to most melee, I would imagine. But right now,
no, it's C tier. It's in C tier. Again, we have now data that can back this off. So let's check out Assassination Rogue, who I was expecting to do better than what was predicted. However, it does seem that it's not like the choice a lot of people have for the rogue spec going into dungeons. This doesn't mean it will not do well. It'll probably do amazing, but so far
it's doing better than what we predicted anyway. And we've seen in the Race to the World first, although kind of like a little bit of a tangent, Assassination Rogues used in raids, so we can only extrapolate that they're going to be really good on Tyrannical Week since we only had Fortified so far. So I think Assassination does have more potential than we definitely predicted it, but even more so than most people think. And
it's a hard competition with the other rogue specs, which we'll get to eventually. But so far so good. I think it's a respectable B tier so far.
It's decently above Arms, to be fair.
For sure. All right, now let's get into some of the more pumpers in the group here. Enhancement Shaman, which we were kind of expecting to perform good. I cannot see like huge. Maybe it is some competition with Elemental in terms of like the rankings and the compositions, but even with that. enhancement is like on top of, not middle of the A tier, I would say.
It's doing pretty good. It's actually very close to elemental as both of the specs
I think it's
right
a better
now.
preference more.
Yeah,
there.
I suppose as a shaman, if you are playing DPS, you might prefer melee more so this season than range, since the range is a little bit annoying to play with the affixes and everything. But as an enhancement, is definitely keeping up with the big guns up there. Not really top, but close.
We'll get to the top. Don't worry about it, guys. All right, Feral Druid,
the kitty.
I mean,
the comeback.
Come on, man. We saw the evolution of this on the alpha and beta and stuff. Yeah, you see it. It does amazing damage. It was about time to see Feral Druids being able to do AoE damage. They already did beautiful single target damage as well. They're not like S tier just yet, but they're like very, very close. I would say top A tier.
Well, Feral is actually the spec that when we did our research, we decided like, okay, we need a breakpoint for S tier and A tier, which is it gonna be? So it's probably Feral right now. And the reason Feral is in A tier, you'll see it's not, and you will feel a lot better about Feral being in A tier.
Yeah. I mean, we're looking at what I think the biggest key of Feral did was a 19, maybe 18 or 19. At least at the moment when we researched this stuff. And it was doing pretty good as well. As well. So definitely big difference between Ferals and Arms Warriors, for example, in terms of like the highest keys being made. Now let's check Frost Death Knight, which, man, I was expecting it a bit better. But, well, you have Unholy there, so that's
I think Frost DK is one of the specs that we more accurately predicted, mostly because it has a lot less to do with its tuning, although obviously tuning is also important, but more so to do with the core playstyle, which hasn't really changed from what we've been able to observe, where Breath of Sindragosa is really the ideal way to do very high keys, and for Breath you need a lot of gear, and for Breath you need, high keys and haste and mastery and all of that stuff, maybe even crit, we'll have to see. So Frost is always going to suffer at the beginning of a season, similarly to other specs, not all of them. So right now, it's about B tier. It's actually doing a little bit worse than Assassination, surprisingly.
Yeah, surprisingly well. Assassination, once mastered correctly, it will dominate. You'll see. We'll talk in a couple of weeks from now. Now, Fury Warrior, doing better than Arms, that's for sure. I mean, Fury Warrior is just pure fun, pure like crazy, speedy, smoothie, all over the place damage. It's just that the Fury Warriors we checked out so far in the data, and again, it's the first couple of days of the data recorded. This could change, but I haven't seen like keys above, I don't know, maybe 16 was the highest, something like that, 15s. I mean, I haven't seen no Fury Warrior, or maybe there was one in 300 other specs that was doing like plus 19s and stuff. So that's you made the argument at the beginning that Prot Warrior is like, the
you'd probably think that not a lot of people play Fury, and the normal warriors might have to actually switch to protection. And Fury is also one of those specs that we've known for a long time that really shines at the end of a season, where you get the most amount of gear. Like even in past Shadowlands seasons, where the specs Fury and Arms, for instance, kind of behaved similarly. Arms was popping off at the beginning, and then Fury overtook it with like no major buffs or nerfs to either of the specs. So we can only expect that Fury will be better. Right now, it's at the top of B tier. It's doing better than Assassination. And just because Fury is there, and we know that Fury is not a bad spec, you can probably take into, draw some conclusions that Assassination is not that bad. So B tier is not that bad, but we kind of have to have like a difference between the pumpers.
And you can clearly see this when you look at Warcraft logs and Rare.io. You can clearly see the differences between the highest number of keys being made by all these specs, at least from what was recorded in terms of like data. Okay, Havoc Demon Hunter. I mean, Jesus Christ, man.
Here we go. Here we go.
This is like this spec. Oh my God. We did.
What a change.
And it's not again, guys. It's not a 2-button spec anymore. You have to know what you're doing to do. But it does so much damage. It's ridiculous. I remember we did yesterday on stream with Dahlia, and he was just like
the man was carrying everybody.
100 plus K DPS. Granted, some spec within that comp are target cap, wink wink, and Havoc isn't. But regardless, Havoc has an amazing damage profile. I think it's like an all-rounder, one of the best melees this season, at least in all departments. Not gonna say any more of it. It's an S tier, man. It's an S tier. You can also see on the number of keys in the logs and stuff, the Havoc is just wrecking it all over the board. Same as the pirate.
Well, there you go.
The Outlaw Rogue. I mean,
I'm just gonna let you do your thing.
Yeah, Outlaw Rogue. I mean, again, we've kind of predicted this, and this is not by accident. Outlaw Rogue is like, I think, so far right now, in terms of like all the logs we checked and the data from Radar.io, I've seen like Outlaw Rogues are it's the spec with the most amount of high keys over there. So it's like Havoc is coming close, but in terms of like purely based on the data we've checked, it's like the first. And it's not because I'm in it. This is the data, okay? This is what it is.
It's actually consistently doing well across all platforms that we've used to gather some data. So it's one of the more consistently overperforming specs right now, which reminds me of the early days of the BFAs, or the late days of the BFAs, some of the BFA days.
I think it would just dominate and would have no competition if they would just remove that goddamn target cap or just increase it, because it's so frustrating.
All of the outlaws struggling in S tier with the AoE cap. Oh,
yeah, man. But listen, you cannot like, okay, if you have like Leaf, you're not gonna be able to compete with people who do not have target cap. That's it. Put it on Outlaw and an Unholy DK in a big pack, and you're gonna see the difference. That being said, let's check out Ret Paladin, okay? And again, let's state this: we love Ret. Well, I don't know my flame here. I love Ret Paladin today. It was my main for like from the beginning. I wish I want to love it in Dragonflight too. I just cannot. And in terms of like the logs and the data we have so far, I mean,
it's actually not doing too bad.
It's not doing bad. The damage profile is there. This is the thing. You can talk about Red not being considered to be a very strong option due to the survivability. It's still very subject to big and nasty mechanics, and the defensives are not quite there just yet. And the playstyle, I mean, if you enjoyed the whole consecration thing, go for it. It's fine. The performance is decent enough, so the damage profile I think is doing better than Frost DK from at least higher keys.
Yeah, they're actually kind of similar in the overall performance. And I mean, Protection Paladin is not too shabby, but then again, I don't know. I think Paladin is just taking a little bit of a hit this season in terms of Mythic Plus, so we'll see how things evolve once they get their tier sets.
Yeah, okay, but one thing that we did get wrong, and we'll take 100% for it, Subtlety Rogues. Now, the Subtlety Rogues, that I think we haven't been like 100% on par with all of the updates to it, but the damage profile is kind of insane, and this was something that we 100% got wrong. So Subtlety Rogue right now, I think
it's killing him, man.
It's there like with and again, judging it by the competition it will have with Outlaw, I was just expecting it to just be dropped and
yeah, that's actually really interesting, because if you look on Warcraft logs and you just filter everybody's ranking by their overall performance in Mythic Plus, actually Subtlety Rogue is almost equal to Outlaw in terms of overall performance, right? This is not indicative of, you know, individual situations and individual groups, but Subtlety would be ranked above Havoc and other specs. However, if you do look at Radar.io and the entirety of the keys at what levels they cleared, they're not really there, but they're still S tier. Subtlety Rogue is actually surprisingly, this is actually kind of cool. I don't know, did we have it in C tier? I think it was
it was somewhere in C tier again, but this just goes to show us. I mean, I think I mentioned it or the tier list, man. I love Subtlety, and looking at this, I mean, I'm curious to see how it's gonna do in the raid.
You're gonna lose some daggers.
I may or may not go back to Subtlety if it's performing, because I still want to help my guild. I don't want to be like, I'm gonna be the underdog. And
you're not gonna play arms or something.
No. I mean, I love arms. What are you talking about? But S tier, just on the data, it's S tier, and we're happy for the Subtlety Rogues, and we admit our mistake.
Yeah, no, but enough about.
It's not a mistake. It was a wrong prediction.
It's a prediction, but it's fine. I mean, this is fun to see how things actually change. But I think we talked a little bit too much about S tier. Yeah. Let's go to Survival Hunter.
Let's back. A prediction we were right on Survival Hunters. I mean,
I don't know if we had it in D tier though. Survival Hunter is actually kind of very similar to Arms. However, maybe it's a little bit more skewed when it comes to Survival Hunt. So in terms of overall performance and overall scores and keys cleared, I think the highest I've seen a Survival do was about the 14 at the time of we recording this. It might be higher by the time you guys watch this. But Survival is C tier, slightly ahead of Arms, but you could just as well put it behind.
It's a pity, man.
However, Survival does have a steeper competition with its other specs as opposed to Arms, where Arms you'd say, you know, you have the biggest competition with Protection, but that's a tank. However, Survival has a competition with not only 2 range specs, which
we've seen.
Well, I mean, range is not ideal, but when you have Beast Mastery, that doesn't have range. That's like nothing. And Beast Mastery is actually one of the kick-ass specs as well. And Marksman is also crushing it in the raids and crushing it in the Mythic Plus. So Survival has like, I mean, why that question again, like, why would you do that when you have this other 2 better options?
Yeah, that could be the mentality a lot of the Hunter players are having this season so far. Things
because it could be higher. So
yeah. But it's a respectable seat here, I guess. Now, Unholy Death Knight, which
it's coming back, baby.
It is coming back. Yeah, you can definitely see it. And if you remember, like in Shadowlands, we didn't see it too much, and with the changes to Dragonflight, we were kind of expecting and correctly predicted that Unholy DK will start the season probably somewhere at the top and will end it quite like literally to be one of the, if not the best.
Would be surprising to see,
because it has the all of the tools it needs to perform well in Mythic Plus, no, hands down. I mean, when it comes to cleave, that was fixed. It's really good. When it comes to single target, that was like giga
get options, get those options, man.
Yeah, and I'm not even going to mention like the big pack AoE. That's going to be insane as dungeons are being pushed at a higher level. You're going to see, I think, a bigger presence for Unholy DK. That being said,
and even with that said, I mean, this is 8 tier right now. I mean, it's kind of like
it's better than Enhancement.
It's
right?
better than Enhancement. It's not quite where Feral is, but it's catching up little by little. We'll see, because we've looked at it at the overall meta for the past couple of days, and it's actually doing better and better every time we look at it. So
that's what I'm saying.
Maybe we'll see it S tier.
It's definitely going to be interesting to see which specs out of these are going to be picked up on the MDI. Well,
yeah, it's going to be.
We're going to get to that as well. Now, last on the list, I think there's no surprise here. Another, I would say, correct prediction.
Yeah, it's very difficult to predict this one.
Windwalker Monks. Windwalker Monks, obviously, you've probably seen, I don't know, some streams or some friends or whatever, where you have a Windwalker Monk, and we're talking about an AoE scenario, you just know that's going to be...
The key's going to get done. That's all there is.
It's done. You just need that dude or dude that there, and it's all good. But on the serious note, you look at the keys that Windwalkers did. Obviously, you're talking on the range of 18s, 19s, some 20s, not many 20s, but some...
Touch of death.
Yeah, the whole thing with the touch of death, we know, but so far it's working, so it delivers both single target cleave and AoE, so it's an S tier, guys. However, it's not in front of Outlaw and Havoc. At least
I actually expected Windwalker to be the bee's knees, but it's actually Outlaw and Havoc are outperforming. And depending on who you ask and what you're looking at, subtlety is probably better than Windwalker as well. But that remains to see. And actually, the good part about it is that you don't have the degenerate spin to win place, although we could argue the degeneracy of the touch of death system.
It's a different degeneracy, but it's a degeneracy.
It's in the family. There's still some degeneracy.
It's an NC there, and it's there. I mean, Blizzard hasn't done anything to address it, so you guys
have fun.
It. But this is the first image out of this is like 2 days of season 1. This is what we look like for melees in Mythic Plus. Okay, so it's gonna change. I'm pretty sure. Once again, all of these specs. All of the players that play these specs do not have their best items, do not have their tier sets.
Nope.
There's a lot of things that will influence this tier list. I'm 100% sure it will look different in a month from now. But the purpose of this one is to actually see where this quote-unquote meta starts.
How it kind of starts and how it evolves over the course of the patch.
So I hope you enjoy, and let us know in the comments what your thoughts are on the matter. As always, thank you Patreons for supporting the content. We love you guys that make all of this possible. If you want to check the link in the description, it says over there.
Down below.
And also, can never forget the Warcraft Logs companion app. One of the best ways you can improve yourself, guys. It's just in-game, it's
really good.
Just check your logs, check everything and compare with other players, and you're gonna be better.
And it's quick.
All right, thanks for watching. Bye-bye.
I've been loving it then, I still love it now. Still, I play WoW. Still, I play WoW. Getting better every day, let me show you how. Cause still, I play WoW. Still, I play WoW. It's getting harder to stay, but at the end of the day, it's a guilty pleasure, so just log in and play. Whether it's classic or retail, I'ma do a /bow. Still, I play WoW.